How the fuck's it going, everyone? Back today with another video. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, but I thought I would jump on and do an album review here. I do get kind of promo copies of a lot of different albums from a lot of different record labels and things like that. And often I kind of listen to them in advance just so I can kind of get a good idea of what the album's about, and then as soon as it arrives, assuming I'll pre-order it, I can then talk to you guys about it immediately, knowing quite a lot about what the band sounds like. So even though I don't do a lot of these, I do a lot of listening and I do a lot of note-taking regardless. But then every now and then, an album like this one comes around and I just want to talk about it before I've even gotten the physical copy. And I want to kind of let you know what you're in for. Popular band, but I don't feel like this one's getting an awful lot of attention at the minute. I know Melanie loves death metal. Had a bit chat about this one as well because she's in a few mailing lists, as I am. But yeah, I've got a few that have come into my mailbox and my inbox, recently that I do really want to chat about. This being one of them. This is my review of the brand new Hulder album entitled Verses in Oath. This is going to be released on the 9th of February through 20 Bucks Spin. It'll be their second release through said label after their EP, which they dropped, I want to say 2021 or 22, might have been 22. But yeah, got quite a lot of attention after their debut album, God's Slastering Hymns of a Forlorn Peasantry, and rightly so. This is a one-woman black metal project based out of the US. I believe she's out of Belgium. I don't know if she's like of Belgian descent and moved to America or what. Don't know what went on there, but yeah, definitely something to do with Belgium. Apologies, don't know any more detail than that. But yeah, really excited for this one. This is going to be the sophomore full-length album. They've released 2 tracks of it so far. I do have my notes down here, by the way, if you're wondering why I keep looking down. The 2 tracks are called Hark in the End and Vessel of Suffering, so I assume you have heard those by now. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of deep dive this thing. I'm going to do it kind of component by component, so I'll talk about the guitars, the drums, the vocals separately. I won't kind of do a track by track thing because that takes way too long. I tend to ramble for too long when I'm doing that because I come out with all these fucking wacky similes and shit, and nobody's got time for that. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Hope you enjoy this. A little bit thrown together. I do have a lot of notes here, but I'll try and condense them so that this is a concise just recommendation for yous. What's going on in the background before I forget to fucking show it. This is Autopsy with their comeback album from 2011 entitled Macabre Eternal. This is like over an hour long of Autopsy doing what they do best. There's a nice balance between the kind of punchy, punky death metal that we know and love from these guys and the kind of crawling, sluggish doom metal that, I mean, not everyone's a fan of, but I certainly am. This is dripping with filth, dripping with great tunes as well. Really memorable, really fucking catchy. Very, very good. Go and check that out if you haven't already, but everyone probably has by now because, come on, it's fucking Autopsy. So yeah, I do believe this album is classed as a sort of solo project, so like a one-woman project. However, the same guys have been doing the sort of backing instruments for a little while, so drums and bass has been session musicians in the past, and on Metal Encyclopedia they're listed again as session musicians, but I do know she's been touring with these guys as well, so I don't know if they're full-time members at this point, but I digress. We'll just call it kind of a one-woman project and go from there, but I will talk about the kind of session musicians as we get further into this. So this is a 10-track album, 40 minutes in length, very traditional kind of album structuring. It's, well, kind of, which I will get into in a second. But yeah, as I say, they've released 2 tracks of it so far, so hopefully you have checked them out. If not, do so straight after this. But yeah, first of all, I'm going to talk about the production a little bit and the mixing job. This was mixed and mastered in Finland by the same guy who mixed albums for bands like Impaled Nazarene, Demigod, etc. A bunch, kind of from decades gone by. And to me, this sounds like it's sort of produced as a death metal record. If you like sort of bestial black metal or war metal, whichever you want to kind of call it, I think you'll really dig the production job here. It's black metal in style, but it's almost got a death metal sound just in production and mixing. And what I mean by that is it's very chunky, it's very dense. You could really hear this being on like a Weregoat album, for example. It's not shrouded in static as like a raw black metal project would be. It doesn't have the production of like a second wave black metal band from Scandinavia, for example. It's not like thin and tinny. In fact, it's the opposite. It's chunky and in your face. You feel like you're getting punched in the nose by a brick. I don't think bricks have fists, so I'm not really sure how it's punching you, but I digress. Yeah, as I say, very kind of fuzzy as well. It's almost got like almost a doomy sort of guitar sound with the production and everything. It's very like intense and very grating, and it just kind of fills the soundscape. I will go a little bit more into the sort of guitar work very, very shortly. But yeah, just the overall sound is dominated by that guitar sound. There are some minor issues with the production in my view, and it goes alongside the drumming, so I will get to that later on. You know I've got to talk about the drums on this channel because that's just my thing. I fucking love listening to records, especially brand new records, just to kind of hear what the drum work is going to be like. So yeah, as I say, if you like the bestial black metal sound, I think the production really, really will fit with your tastes here. So let's get on with the drumming on this one. So I listened very intently on at least one listen through at the drums or to the drums. I listened at them. Sounds very threatening. Emphasis on cymbal work on this one, I would argue. The structuring itself with the drums is pretty simplistic, very straightforward. It's mainly blast beat orientated, and it's all like 4/4. You don't really get any like wacky time signature shifts or anything like that. Most of the sound is dominated by those blast beats. You're peppered with them for the whole time, and it very, very rarely lets up. It's pretty much just there as a background kind of sound stuffer, if you will. It's not there as its own entity necessarily. You don't get really very many like crazy fills. The fills are just kind of 4 on the snare, 4 on the high tom, and then maybe back with 4 more on the snare. It's very kind of simple. It's very fast and very impressively played. But yeah, there's nothing really crazy going on as far as that. As I was saying, the cymbal accentuation is it's littered with sort of trashy hi-hats, ride cymbal work, lots of crashes going on top as well. It just kind of accentuates the tempo shifts and the riff transitions really nicely without taking any of the attention away. It's just a very crisp kind of performance, very pristine, very well played, as I say, and yeah, nothing to turn your nose up at. It's very smothering, I would argue. There's not very much chance for you to catch your breath here with them being blast beats all the way through. It's just with the fuzzy guitars and everything and the constant peppering with just insane speed. It's, yeah, you don't get any respite here, which if you're in the market for this, and if you're listening to black metal, I don't really see why you're in the market for respite per se, to be honest. But yeah, it's overwhelming in the best fucking possible way. The variation on this one, especially in the drum work, comes from the shifts from the ride cymbal to the hi-hats. Very simple, very easy. It's not like nothing crazy is going on. There's no crazy like ride bell work or anything like that. It's all on the face of the ride cymbal, and it's just, yeah, using crashes to shift between the two cymbals. Simplistic, but very, very effective. You don't need like complexity, you don't need technicality for drumming to work, and this is the perfect example of that. I think it's really, really well done, and it scratches the itch for me where it's refreshing to see that drummers can be great without being completely like flamboyant and over the top. I just think it's really, really well done. My issue comes with the production, mixing with the drums. I think the blast beats are often swamped into the big kind of wall of sound. As I said, they're not allowed to become their own entity, even though nothing needs to kind of come to the forefront. There's nothing flashy that you need to hear. But I would just like to hear the drums a bit more clearly. The double bass work's kind of swamped a little bit. And I mean, the double bass work's really, really nice. Even with the kind of mid-pace stuff on the top, the speed at which he's playing with his feet is just exquisite, and it's really, really cool to listen to. And yeah, just gets a little bit lost behind the wall of sound. However, that wall of sound is really intense, and in a good way. It's very, very cool. And it is very like overbearing and grandiose, and yeah, just feels like a massive, massive weight is kind of pushing down on you. So yeah, I mean, it's not really a complaint, but just when I'm listening to the drums, that is probably something I would be looking for. I want to actually hear them, basically, which you can for the most part, but just if I'm going to nitpick, I kind of do a review without nitpicking at least a little bit. Over to like the synth work on this one and the sort of interlude tracks. The synths add an element of sort of I don't know, beauty to the record. There are clean vocal passages on here, but the synths are used all the way through, and they're pretty kind of ghostly and spectral, and they kind of hover over the top of the kind of cacophony really effectively. It just, again, it's used as like an emphasizer for the rest of the soundscape. I will go into the guitar work a little bit later, which kind of mixes in with the synth work. But yeah, just kind of a lovely layer, a bit like a kind of fog on a cemetery or something, that just adds another element of atmosphere for me. It's haunting, it's eerie, and it's really, really like effective. It's intensity building. It's I don't know, it just builds up kind of tension and makes the album come together as like a whole piece, as a whole experience, and I really, really fucking appreciate that. Track 6, which is entitled An Offering, is like an almost choir-like interlude where we've got some like really cool like clean vocal work from Hulder herself. She's got a great kind of singing voice. She added a bit of that into the last EP, and I really, really dig that, because she doesn't use it as like a she doesn't use it for like verses or anything. That's all left to the harsh vocals. They're just kind of hanging in the background, and that track is perfect for that. It's very, very eerie and wispy and beautiful, and I really, really appreciate it. It's almost Viking-esque to me. It's almost like folkish, even though in this record you don't really get any folk elements at all. It just kind of gives it that prideful, almost patriotic feeling. It's really authentic, and really just adds to the pressure cooker that is this record in general. Just adds like a fantastical atmosphere. For me, it feels very like, I don't know, it feels very incandescent, and it feels like this whole thing's like brewing incantations and summoning spirits, and yeah, again, just atmosphere building, and the synths have a lot to do with that efficacy for me. And yeah, there are 2 like interlude tracks in a row on this one, which is quite strange. I've said before that the structuring of the album's very traditional. I thought that was quite strange and a bit of a brave move, but An Offering feels like more of its own thing. It doesn't just feel like a kind of breather. It feels like it belongs there. It's a track I could just listen to by itself if I'm in the market for that kind of itch scratcher, spitting all over the goddamn shop with passion. But yeah, over to the guitars. The guitars, especially the rhythm guitars, almost just function to me on this album as sort of sound fillers, like gap fillers. They're not really there to make you scrunch your face up and be like, oh, that riff's sick. Like on her demos, it felt like she was using that kind of style where those soaring rhythms would come out of nowhere from the chaos and just kind of add those head-banging elements. But on this one, it's like very tremolo based. There's lots of down picking, and yeah, it just kind of merges into a big wall of noise. You don't get a lot of variation between riffs. There's nothing fancy nor complex going on, and yeah, I feel like the synths do the job of the rhythm guitars for a lot of this album, which I think's really unique, especially considering how effective it is. It shouldn't work this well because, a little bit like doom metal, I feel like she's a bit limited in what she can do with the rhythms when they're in this style, when they're so fuzzy and so kind of detuned. I don't know what the fuck she's done to the guitars to make them sound like that. I don't know if it's the mastering or the kind of effects that are on the actual guitars themselves, but yeah, it's really, really cool. I mean, we do get those elements of, like, variation every now and then, but in the full 40-minute runtime, there's not an awful lot. There's not a lot of divergence between each track, which is, I think it's really cool. Repetition is absolutely utilized here, and I think that can work wonders. Mgła from Poland is one of my favorite bands of all time, and they use this exact kind of technique to make their records work, and I feel like Hulder does the same. It's quite dissonant, it's very despondent, and it's really kind of emotive in my eyes. I really feel something when I'm listening to this album, and that's just impressive to me, doing so much with so little. The lead work's very sporadic on this one. We don't get like solos on this, we don't get any kind of hair-raising like electricity in the form of like technical twiddly work. In fact, quite the opposite. The lead work is very few and far between. It just backs up the rhythms a little bit. It helps alongside the synths. It kind of helps make each track stand out on their own without having to, like, I don't know, without anything getting tedious, without anything seeming really samey and I don't know, boring, I guess. Just kind of almost feels like a harmonization, but there is only one lead guitar from what I can hear. It's just whatever effects on the guitar kind of makes it sound like a harmonization, just to add a bit of melody and a bit of melancholy to the really, really intense, as I say, fuzzy rhythm guitars. It's very militant at times. I feel like there's a lot of galloping stuff. Goes along with the drum work, of course. You need that to make a galloping sort of sound style, whatever. But yeah, it's very like, you could just pump your fist along to it for the whole goddamn time almost. That is when we move from the blast beats to the mid-pace sections, of which there are plenty. So yeah, really effective. Really cool, really head nodding. I feel like it'll work really, really nicely in a live setting. So yeah, hoping to catch this band live at some point. Which moves me swiftly over to the vocals, which is the last element that I'll talk about specifically. The bass work, you can't really hear a lot of it, to be honest. It's very like swamped in the rest of the mix, but I'm sure you would notice it if you took it out. It's one of those, it's not audible, or at least it wasn't in my headphones. Perhaps I'll say different when I've got the record. But yeah, so there's not a lot to say about the bass work, unfortunately. Vocally, Hulder uses her kind of trademark at this point, low, gravelly growls, kind of almost croaky, really fucking cool. She sounds like some sort of forest witch or something, really evil and malevolent and uncomfortable. But then kind of to draw out notes and sentences and syllables, she uses a slightly kind of mid-register scream, which I think sounds really cool. It just adds a bit of variety without her having to do too much in the way of kind of, I don't know, like pitch shifting and things like that. Her clean voice is absolutely stunning. I really, really hope she keeps doing that, because it just adds something totally, I don't know, I keep using the word eerie, but it's just so melancholic and emotive, and I don't know, it gives you goosebumps, man. Really like frostbitten, frigid, and feels like you're walking through some sort of like Gelid woods. It's really, really cool. Really hope she continues with that, as I say. There are a few moments on this album where, like, we're moving between tempos. There's a couple of tempo transitions per track, we'll say, and it's just calling for like a or something like that. She doesn't do it, she just starts her next kind of line or her next verse, which is absolutely fine. I know fuck all about vocals, especially kind of harsh vocals. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. But yeah, to my ears, I'm willing something like that, and we don't really get anything. So I don't know. That's just a nitpicky thing and like a taste thing. But yeah, her voice is absolutely awesome in both the harsh and the clean facets. Really fucking cool. Overall thoughts on this one. This is a very traditionally performed album. It is played in the kind of second wave Scandinavian style. It's true to its roots. It's not trying to experiment with anything. It's not trying too hard to be different. It's very unique in that it sounds just like Hulder. But yeah, stylistically, you're not really getting anything completely outside the box. So if you're looking for that, this will disappoint you. But to me, this is just really measured and precise and patient. It's well written. It's diverse in that it is very self-aware, like it knows when to move over to a different tempo or slightly change the riff or whatever. It knows exactly what it's doing, and when I say it, I mean the band knows exactly what it's doing in terms of that. It doesn't, for me, need to be any more than this. This is what Hulder does. This is what she's doing. It's what the band's doing. I don't need anything else. If she keeps doing this for the rest of eternity, as long as the band is kind of active, I am more than happy with that. I will buy the records. The sound is slightly different to like Godslastering, for example. Just it's slightly less produced like a black metal album, which I really dig. I think that's unique in itself. But yeah, I'm more than happy for just this style. It's great. I love what she's doing with the clean vocals and the synths. I just think this is a brilliant formula, and I think it's foolproof. I think people will buy this record regardless, and I think they'll buy future records based on the strength of songwriting alone. You don't need complexity to be impressive, to kind of draw listeners in my opinion. It's anthemic, it's prideful. As I said before, it feels patriotic in some sense. I don't know what that even means, because it doesn't come across as like US patriotism or anything like that. But yeah, basically, to wrap this rambling up, this is highly recommended. I love this thing. Can't wait for the physical release to come. It's taken me a while to fully digest this one and kind of come up with thoughts that I won't just change immediately after. I do think this is going to stick with me for the rest of the year, and I think you really need to listen to this as soon as it drops. 20 Buck Spin normally drop their kind of full albums on YouTube kind of a week in advance of the actual release, so keep an eye out throughout this week. Between Monday and Wednesday, we may see the album drop properly. Not this week, whenever it is, in a couple of weeks' time, my bad. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Hulder's killing it. Keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you very much for watching. Really enjoyed doing that. Just writing again is great. Doing these reviews, it does good because I can actually kind of sit and think about it, but I do need time to sit and kind of gather my thoughts and write them down into kind of legible notes, shall we say. But yeah, I've got a few more ideas for a few more of these that I would like to do. I've got some ideas in the pipeline and some things that I'm working on, which I'm really looking forward to kind of getting out to you guys. Hope you've enjoyed that. Enjoy your weekend. I'm sure I'll be back before the end of it, but I'll not promise anything just in case. Take care as always. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I will catch you in the next one.